Okay, our next speaker is Sahasrara. She is a psychic channel, a speaker, a feminine empowerment mentor, spiritual alchemy teacher, and force of nature. Beck is dedicated to helping leaders remember their true power as an international spiritual mentor online and at the Temple of Gold Coast. Beck believes it is your absolute sacred right to embody the radiant joy of your soul's true essence and full potential. Ladies and gentlemen, Beck Sahasrara.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I had a whole thing prepared, and then I lost it. And then another thing prepared, and then I lost it. And then I gave up. So what Miroslav was sharing earlier about surrender and to us about being alive on the stage with what is, that's what's happening right now. And it also ties into what I was going to say. So about 3-ish years ago, I was sitting at Dust Temple Cafe in Currumbin with my new friend at that time, Ione, who's now my best friend. And I was crying to her about a really difficult kind of abusive thing that had happened with the partner at the time, my partner at the time. And she was listening to me, and it was really special because we'd just gone to a sister's circle and I didn't really know her very well. And she was like, "Do you want someone to hold space with you?" And I was like, "Okay." And it was really lovely. And I was sharing with her, and then when we sort of started to come to a completion, she said, "Do you want to get witchy?" And I was like, I think, yes, what? What does that mean? And she's like, "I know a place down the road." And I was like, okay. And I didn't really know her very well, so whatever. But I love getting witchy. So we went into her van, and there were some witches in the house. And we went into her van, and it was like packed full of all her stuff. And she's like, "Yeah, it's just down the road." And I'm like, "Should I get into this van?" Okay. And then I got into the van. And then we're driving and we're winding down these green trees down through Currumbin Valley. And we eventually pull up at this place that says like Soul Gardens in front of the thing. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll tell her later." And so I was just like, "Okay, and I'll tell you guys later." So then she's like, "It's just down here." And we went down there. And we went down to the left, or down that way, to the left, there. And there was a beautiful forest space, and Ione was like, "Let's do magic." And so we built like a stone circle, and we danced around and sang light language. And I raged and cried about the betrayal that I had experienced, and my sister witnessed it. And at the end she said, "Did we just become best friends?" And I was like, "Yes." And that was it. So, okay, fast forward to maybe 1 to 2 years later. I am with a different man, and he's like, "Okay, let's have our breakup conversation in a beautiful nature place." And I'm like, "Okay." And so he's driving, and he always drives and takes me places in his masculine. I don't even need to think. And then we pull up, Soul Gardens. And I was like, okay. And then we go down there, and I cry and scream and rage, and then we break up. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, why do I keep coming here? Why did I have that vision 2 to 4 years ago of me getting married at Soul Gardens? I did. Why did I end up there when I was going through a breakup with the first man? Why did it end up there when I was going through a breakup with the second man? And then, about 3.5 weeks ago, in my new place in Flagstone, out at Bow Desert, I'm sitting in the bath crying because I've had I've been in hospital, I've had the flu, I've had a lot of things going on, I've been overwhelmed, my body was stressed, and I was crying because I kept seeing this vision of me getting married at Soul Gardens, but it's not happening. And I was crying to Spirit, and I was like, why do you keep showing me this if I just, like, it's not gonna fucking happen? Like, and just this voice inside of me was like, stupid little girl fantasy dreams, like, why do I always think these romances are gonna happen? It's ridiculous. And I was crying, and then Spirit showed me the whales and a vision of the whales and the joy that they experience when they leap. And they said, just focus on your joy. And tired and heartbroken, I said, okay, I'll try. About 3 days later, we got on our mastery Zoom call where Miroslav goes, guys, I found the event. I found the venue. And I was like, and I'm on the call with my like mouth covered like this. And I was like, I must look so weird. And everyone else is like, yeah, cool, whatever, Soul Gardens. And I'm like, I'm getting married. Nobody knows except me. So I was like, okay. And so I was like, I think it's Spirit telling me to just like not give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. So, and I was like, but maybe a romantic surprise is waiting for me. Oh, yes, okay. So I was waiting this day, and I was curious about this day. Today I go to the nail salon because my nails were broken. And I walk in there, and this song comes on, and it's like that song by that guy, and he's like, I think I want to marry you. And I was like, am I marrying me? Like, what's going on? And I was so weird, you guys, today, like picking my outfit, getting my nails done. I was like, this is what I would do on my wedding day. Like, what's going on? And then I was pissed off the rain. Anyway, and then I step outside after the nail salon, and there's all these groomsmen in James Street in Burleigh, just like a horde of them at the ATM. And I was like, are you my husband? Hello? I was like, do you want to come with me? But they didn't know that I existed. So I got in my car, drove out here. And as I was driving out here, I'm having a really trippy experience where like all my entire life is flashing before me. And I'm driving and I'm like, I hope I don't get lost. Like this is real windy and real weird and like a valley. And then I'm getting all these thoughts of like, oh my gosh, like the journey, the union, the love in me, my wholeness, me. And then I get lost on the way here, guys, and with no signal. And then I just pull up in this park area because I was like, what am I going to do? And then I started crying because I was like, okay, every time I thought that I wasn't safe, I actually was safe. So what if this is one of those times? And then I made it here, obviously. I turned around and I made it here. So what I realized is that I must be the love of my life. Me. And I was thinking about that, and this song came on, and it's called A Love Like This, that we might hear later. And it was like, you're the one that knows me, you're the one that sees me, all these things. And I was like, I see me. Like, I've known me. I know the hours that she sat in therapy, crying and feeling everything unfelt to become the woman that would be capable of any kind of union, finding union inside herself first. I am the one that has lived with what is technically called dissociative identity disorder, which separated me from pieces of myself, from severe trauma when I was little. I made myself whole. My entire life has been about becoming whole. And I am the one who was there witnessing her when she sat in the trees in the forest for years, trying to put herself back together and falling in love with the sun shower. And I know that that's her favorite thing in the universe. I know that her favorite color is pink, but only because she wishes that her favorite color was rainbow. But no one accepts that answer when I say that. This queen does. And so in my journey for my husband, in my journey for love, it's actually within me. And you know, soul, S-O-L, is the old word for the sun. Yes, it is the Spanish word, but Spirit told me it's the old word for the sun. And I knew that long before. So you may not be at my wedding today, but you are. And this journey, so I was like, I've got to do a speech, and I wrote the speech and it wasn't working, and then all this crazy shit happened, and I was like, I think life just wants me to be happy and stop looking for wholeness and just be whole and be happy now. And then I was like, I don't like it. I feel weird. And then I lost my script, right? And then Miroslav's like preaching all this stuff about like, just surrender to the stage and la la la. And I'm like, I fucking don't want to. But I did. And I was also like, I don't want to tell a story about my life anymore. I want to change the story from, like, the story comes from the pain, right? And the truth of who you are comes from the wholeness. And I found that inside of myself. And so now we're going to have a little listen to this little song. And we're going to celebrate my wedding. Listen to the lyrics. Years going by, back to you. It's me. The one that knows me. Never know a love like this. Around me. I'm so glad you found me. Never know a love like this. Love can't tear us apart. You keep calling me back to your heart. No one love like this. Yeah. The end.